I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Particularly, maybe a couple of minutes late, I know everyone had a chance to review the minutes. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes. First by Legislator Holt, second by Legislator Lockwood. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, to resolutions of the day. EC 3, resolution authorizing reclassification of one position in county clerk's office. Lift the motion with this discussion. First by Legislator Holtz, second by Legislator Lockwood. Does anyone have any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carries. EC 4, resolution authorizing increase in witness fees for the public defender's office. The motion we got. Legislator Lockwood. Okay.
It's just needed because it's both the government reports on Monday. We're just starting to, our cases are just starting to go to trial. And we have a lot of things to 50. And the state also is up its coverage of our witness fees so that it will be classified out of IRS. The county can get reimbursed for it.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Carries. And PS3. Resolution authorizing the execution of agreement with Advent Financial System LLC Traffic Diversion Program. Move for discussion. First by Legislator Holtz. Second by Legislator Lockwood. You can second that. Does anyone have any questions? Tony here, any questions regarding that? And all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carries. PS4, resolution authorizing budget modification sheriff's office transfer from insurance recovery treasurer's office to automotive supplies and repair division. For a motion to move, first by Legislator Lockwood, second by Legislator Gallus. Anyone have any questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries. PS5, resolution authorizing Oswego County District Attorney's Office to enter a service contract with Finger Lakes Paralegal Services. First by Legislator House, second by Legislator Lockwood. Does anyone have any questions regarding this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Carries. On to HS1, resolution authorizing budget modification, Department of Social Services, daycare. First by Legislator House, second by Legislator Holtz. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carries. HS2, resolution authorizing budget modification, Department of Social Services to accept federal CAPTA CARA funds. Looking for a motion to move, first by Legislator Lockwood, second by Legislator Holtz. Does anyone have any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. HS3, resolution authorizing professional services contract, RFP 24DSS-001, case management assistance. Looking for a motion to move for discussion.
I'll make the motion.
First by Legislator Lockwood, second by Legislator House. I know there were some questions on this. There were some issues. I know there were some questions regarding this was looking to award the contract, not the low bidder. Is there anything you'd like to say on that? Basically.
The low bidder did not have a proposal for a program that would cover the full needs of what we asked for.
Was that in the RFP?
Yes.
As a understood, as we went through the RFP, so they stated
It was
that they
80
couldn't-
cases, and they have said 2 staff, which would not be enough for this specialized population. There's actually 6 staff in the OCO proposal, which is adequate to cover the caseload.
And that was the issue, or that was the reason for the lower bid, was the additional staffing?
For the higher bid, additional
For the higher
staffing.
bid.
Correct. This used to be 2 different programs, and it was, the case management was on the workforce development in Fulton, and then on this side of our house in DSS was focused on homeless population, and we've combined both programs for one program. So even the highest bid is still less money than we were spending on 2 different programs.
Understood, but reading the RFP, was it proposed like that? That's how it was bid, the 2 combined?
No, the scope of work just showed components from both programs for self-sufficiency.
Because these were the questions that were brought to me, that's why
Right.
I'm asking.
Yeah, we processed this with our Human Services Committee as well.
Right. I had some current concerns about not awarding to the low bidder, and if they were contacted, and there was any discussion perhaps, because the way it was explained, I know when I spoke with the chairman, he had explained to me that he had believed that someone may have contacted them or didn't.
Well,
I think what it came down to, because the way it was explained is afterwards, that there were some additional things that they were going to do, but the other people didn't have the actual chance to bid on that with the additional. Maybe be the additional services you're speaking of.
now, once the RFP is released, we're not able to talk with anybody who's putting in a proposal or a bid until after it's awarded.
Understand. So that, I guess that leaves the question, if those 2 were combined, and the one bidder had the knowledge that there was going to be 2, and they bid it to staff it with more people, correct? Which was...
I'm not sure I understand your question. My apologies.
I mean, like you said, you would combine the two things, and therefore it was going to require more staff, but less than having the 2. And if it was that way in
The scope of
RFP,
work was clear, I believe. Maybe Holly can speak to that, I'm not sure. But some components of both programs were not part of this scope of work. Yes, we combined them, but not with the full scopes of work, because workforce development now has shifted off into a whole different department. So they would have to, if they wanted this kind of support, that would be separate from DSS now.
Understand.
So it was, we really focused on what is the scope of work here, what is it that the needs are for this population to achieve self-sufficiency and its attachment to the job market. That's what we were looking for.
Received some questions as
Well,
well.
yeah, typically an RFP isn't always to the lowest bidder,
Right.
but it's, they put together a scope, then 2 vendors responded, but they respond with how they're gonna set up the program, right?
Correct.
It's not basically, it's their idea, this is how I'm gonna set up the program, and then the evaluators go through and look at it and see if they think their approach is gonna suit what they need. So, if you look at the evaluations, you know, they write that up, they're saying, yeah, because that's our question too, you know, I know we can go with a higher bidder, but we always look. So the evaluations seem to all say that they didn't believe that the program that was lower from Catholic Charities would meet their needs based on the scope that they were looking for. I know it can be a little subjective, but I can show you the evaluations if you want to see them.
No, I've read that
Okay.
down. I've read that. Okay, does anyone else have any questions? Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carried. EP1, resolution of the county legislature on the county of Oswego approving the Oswego County Civic Facilities Corporation revenue bonds, series 2024, North Oswego County Health Services Incorporated, DBA, Connex Care project issue and aggregate principal amount not to exceed $8,000. For a motion.
I'll make a motion.
First by legislator Lockwood. Second by legislator Holst. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Looking through these, I'd like to, looking for a motion to move EP3, HE2, IT1, IT3, IT5, and IT7 as a block. I have that motion. Yep. First by legislator House, second by legislator Lockwood. Does anyone have any questions on any of those resolutions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carries. That brings us on to FP1, resolution authorizing reclassification of one position in the Human Resource Department. Move it first by legislator House, second by legislator Lockwood. Does anyone have any questions on it? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carries. P2.
Mr. Chairman, shortly before this meeting, it brought to my attention is several legislators who request more information about this request, so I will ask that be withdrawn and I will bring it back next month. That'll give me time to speak with those legislators. The other reason is your name is wrong.
Well, again, am I Stefan again?
You're Stefan.
10 years of this. Okay, so no action on that. Okay, and I can put that on the committee review and decision.
So looking at the report that is our savings to date, which is based on up through March 17th of this year, so last month, it is $1,418,140 roughly, which is a little over $842,000 less than last year this time. Also, I want to let you know, so last month I came forward and the state implemented the new change in the help program to where it affects all titles may be submitted for a rules change, so they meet certain criteria. So I just wanted to report that my staff, and after evaluating all of our positions and our list, we submitted a rules resolution to hopefully add 52 positions of various titles into our rules into the non-competitive class. So I believe we were informed that they're splitting up our resolutions, so 2 of our resolutions will go forward for this month, and then they'll put more forward in April. So it'll be a process, but we have a good understanding that probably, well, we listed 2 of them because we knew that they came back to us and said they're not going to pass. So we have 50 titles, which is great. So we'll see. We'll keep you posted on what we get approved, and we'll keep plugging forward and adding more titles as we're allowed to. also that was in my packet. I included our activity summary for 2023. So just, I guess, to go over some short highlights of that. We did 76 more employee recognitions since 22. Now this is all comparative to 22 year. We did about 10 more sessions of our employee orientations, which is a lot more because we were so busy doing orientations and more individualized based on management personnel and whatnot. For employee verifications, we had 52 less inquiries that we answered. Our retirement, employees that retired, we had 15 less employees retire since 23, or since 22, for 23. Union grievances were up. We basically doubled the grievances that came forward. And then I actually increased our labor management meetings that I've been having with the union, so, which is great, just you can take care of a lot of issues and questions that come up. Our counseling and disciplinary interactions were down since 22, so, which is good. But for exams, it's interesting, we held the same amount of exams for 23, but we had 518 more candidates show for our exams, and why the number is increased even more is because our director of facility exams that we're mandated to give every 4 years, that was about 1,600 candidates that we have to implement into our system. It's across the state. So it's a statewide list that we all share. We had about 1,035 more candidates in 23 of applications that we processed. So it shows, people are applying for our jobs and whatnot. And then the RPCs that all the departments submit and all of our schools, towns, we had over 700 more of those submitted. And we did 8 more career fairs last year than we did, so we did 14 total last year. So yeah, we're getting out there, maps, getting out there, and doing any and all career fairs that come our way.
All right. I know we seem to be getting a lot more people taking tests. Are we hiring any more people? We don't seem to be filling these.
Yeah. The highway just saw a bunch come through. Yeah.
6.
Yeah. They just came
Really?
to orientation.
All CDLs.
Yes.
I've seen you do that before, and then a week later, they've all done their 6 classes. Understood. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Good afternoon. 3 things. First, I passed out to the committee the variance report on the first quarter. This is up to date through March. As usual, the left-hand side is 2024. The smaller chart is all last year up to the same date. On page 2, you'll see the summary of all the departments' totals of actuals and encumbrances. We're about $1.4 million ahead of last year, but the actual percentage of our budget that was expended in the same time period is less. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. If you go through this and you want any particular explanations on any departments, feel free to give me a call, and we'll dig down through the lines that create this. The second thing is, thanks to budget analyst Veronica Turner, we have the 2024 capital plan. This has gone into every legislator's mailbox, and I distributed it here to the members of the committee. This lists all of your open, closed, and proposed capital projects that have been requested so far. It's up to date as of today. Is there anything you'd like to say about it, Veronica?
No, I did compile a list though at the very end for you to let you know where those authorizations currently stand. So that you have that.
Oh, great. Really good.
And as you read, if you take some time, read through it, if you have any questions on any of these projects. This, of course, capital projects are always being added throughout the year,
Right.
and their authorization levels change, so we keep this updated and we publish it once a year. This allows us to kind of look ahead and understand more long-range planning, because some of these projects are 2, 3, up to 5 years out, so that this forms the basis of, this and budget requests form the basis of when I come to you and suggest we need to put more money in reserves, because the reserves are where a lot of the money comes from to pay for these projects as they come along. So that you know that if I'm recommending we need $3 million more in bridges, it's because looking ahead, we're going to have $3 million worth of work coming within the next couple of years.
One of the things that's been great is the department heads are actually here now that have the most capital projects. And they've been really good last couple of years at getting me those 5-year range plans, and that's been very helpful.
Oh, I think it's great actually having the hard copy as opposed to having to dig to get the information before and then you get it on one of the other ones. So somewhat relate and here you can see it. It's a great, yeah. Look at this.
The third thing I want to report on is in the next phase of what we do with the Burke study. I have completed our planned meetings with the employees of the various departments. I traveled the county, conducted 16 meetings, reaching nearly half of the staff. Over 400 employees attended, which was a great turnout. Thank the department heads for their hospitality and welcoming me to their departments. And the meetings went well. We met as a workforce rather than as individual departments or individual unions. Or it was everyone from department heads through unionized line staff all hearing the same message. And then for the first half of the meeting, the second half of the meetings were them conveying to me what they are experiencing in the workforce and their thoughts on compensation as a group, and without a specific interest on a specific union or title or that sort of thing. So I'll be taking all that data that I got from them, and we'll use that as part of the process moving forward with recommendations on the next steps of the Burke study and sharing that with the legislature. It was, I enjoyed doing it. It was a rewarding experience. There were some tough questions. There was a lot of emotion, but also good understanding and being able to quell some rumors and misunderstandings back and forth. And by and large, I was treated very well and respected by the workforce. And I hope from the feedback we've gotten, I think they felt that this was worthwhile and that they appreciated me being there and listening to them and they felt heard. So it's a good step forward.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Phil. Very good.
So, back on Julie there, it's been a long time since I actually was able to interview for accounting positions. Actually, I've interviewed 3 in the past week, so I don't know what's happening, but that's exciting. So hopefully if we can find somebody that's suitable, I'll bring that to the committee next month and figure out how we can do that. It's been a long time since we've been able to hire some, or even interview someone for a position. And interesting. All of a sudden 3 showed up. So, thank you very much. So the next thing is the reserves. You have the sales tax on top. You can see that we're actually doing better than last year. In the calendar year, which was $2,500, which means that we're kind of flat in our sales tax, but we're still up. So that's positive. I also looked at the past calendar years, and it bounces up and down, so it's not a big worry right yet. Reserves, this is the new, some of the new money for the reserves. They seem to be replenished You did, good amount, so good job, Bill. And, then, I do want to say that the NREM can cross, my desk, the new NREM foreclosure bill that is being suggested by the governor came across last night. I'm in litigation, so I can't speak on it, but you probably know how I feel. It does not help the counties. So, we're still trying to figure it out. It appears that there's going to be possible exemptions for seniors, veterans, and anyone disabled. And there could be a possibility of money coming from social services. So, there's a suggestion of that. There's other suggestions that, and NICEAC's been on point. They just sent a letter stating what how the public counties feel, and appreciate that. That just went out, I think, a couple hours ago. So it's gonna impact us all. This isn't just a garbage issue. It's gonna really increase a lot of costs. And then the year is closed. Thank you very much for all the department heads that worked very hard and diligent to get the numbers in. The AUD, which now is, the state changed it to a new format, will be on time as well. So they're finishing that, compounding that, finishing that up as well. So we'll be all set with that. Auditing will be starting soon. Like we always do every year. We'll be auditing our process and then maybe a couple other segments of the county for special audits, just to make sure that some transitions are appropriate. And the one thing that I really was shocked about and very proud about is the interest on earnings over the last 12 months. Just interest alone on the money that you allowed me to invest, $3.7 million, just on interest. Shattered the past record. Yes, I had more money. I just wish interest rates were about like they were back a few years ago, they're a little bit higher. Where does that stand? 3.7. I don't know if we're going to make it there next year, but I will tell you that I said this last year, it's like a 3-year span time frame. The office believes that we do long-term with long-term investments, obviously trying to get to the highest rate, and which causes my staff a lot of work, but yet I keep our liquidity at about 70%. I want to move it up to 80%, so that we just have 20% liquidity, 80% invested. If we can keep doing that, then we may be able to even reach $4 million. It's very difficult because I have to keep moving. We moved $12 million in 1 month at the end of last year, $6 million another month. That we're pulling from different accounts to try to pay the bills, but I want to get every penny I can off that, the money that's in the accounts. So it's difficult for the staff. That's why I'm very anxious to see if we can get somebody that really loves to pump through numbers. But 3.7, that's pretty impressive, and
Really good, yes.
and I was very welcome to that. And we were watching it, but I didn't think it would get that high. But that's good. So it's not changing. We're 4.6 interest rates now. Inflation's still knocking on the door. Hopefully it's going to stay that way for a few years. I mean, how can I say that? From an accounting standpoint, I hope it stays that way for even more. As a personal, I hope it stops tomorrow. So other than that, it's been busy. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Kevin, I appreciate it.
Well, we looked into recently electronic submission of bids and RFPs. So we found a platform, BidNet, which is where we post all our bids so we know they're reputable, and it's free to use their platform. So we started training on it, and right now we're working in a test environment. Next month I'll bring a resolution to the legislature to see if they'll pass it, make the changes to the purchasing policy. And if the legislature passes it, then we should be able to accept both paper or electronic bids and RFPs probably by June. So, I'm excited because that's even better record of when we receive these.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
Okay, checking, I believe, said there may be something from the packet. Here, there's more like a shoulder. He said it was 7-inch elevation or something that was at. Okay.
Well,
Oh, if he has someplace to go, I highly doubt that, yeah, it's gonna pertain to you, and I don't, wait, Jim, I don't want to adjourn and have it be still. Yeah. Oh, you don't want to hear. Yeah.
Still not in yet.
Filter's not a good. It's true. So.
Well, since there's a department, we had, with the payroll, the good old payroll gremlin set. The statement was on, there was a statement processed within the system that was, hit. I don't know how, I don't know if it was when somebody shut down something. It's been very hard to get to. Never has been done that in 6 years. So that's why I do.
I was all hoping for
Everybody
double the price.
everybody got 2 statements, but they didn't get 2 paychecks.
I know,
we had actually questions about that, now will I get 2?
and there was no phone calls, there was no, nothing.
We all got 2 statements, but we didn't get 2.
That's probably bothered Julie, but yeah, it was just,
They just should go about another 30 seconds and then we'll be having a special meeting before the election.
I can talk about the treasure stuff.
Yeah, I get
From the affluent,
We can talk about the eclipse, how's it going?
Oh no, I'm done with this.
You're so over it?
It's been a long time.
You said the path has changed.
Yeah, that's okay, we're still in it. Nothing
What's
changed for
everybody gonna
us.
do when it's a cloudy day?
We didn't go north
It's
or
not
south.
It's not gonna be.
I've been checking the weather.
That's the problem. The National Weather Service actually said, the best place to view is
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. But wait a minute.
Say something about the
We're still in.
They should have said Henderson and Watertown's better yet.
I'm sorry? Well, they still have, they do, we still have some, that's 2.
Some of the civil roads, right?
Okay.
And we're getting
If you came back here and said, oh, it was nothing else.
if you want to, and, don't be
Yeah, I saw the email, but I didn't know.
yeah, it's,
Back.
Yeah, I agree, Watertown. Watertown's best people.
Did everybody get one of these?
Maureen is good.
I'm just gonna
Like
cover.
Well, you wanted to do the salary request today?
Yeah.
In the future, make sure anything you want in committee, don't just go to us, it goes to David. Great.
I'll take it, sir.
My bad.
Good.
Oh,
I don't know, who gets it, who doesn't go?
committee people.
I read this
Yeah.
through the email, but I haven't, this is for another, brought that up with electrician.
Yeah, the first, this is the public defender asked to come up and make a set salary request. Because we had set up, as you recall, a process where we gave department heads who have attorneys leeway in setting salary in order to be able to attract them because we're having trouble hiring. We'd increased the ranges for attorneys, and we developed a matrix, HR developed a matrix that the legislature accepted that scored qualifications and experience, and that score would lead to where that salary can be set within a range. This particular candidate, and Julie can explain it better, falls the maximum by the metric we had set up was 88,000. I'll let the public defender speak for himself, but he has been going back and forth with this candidate, and the candidate's made a request of 95. That's 6,000 or so above what the matrix says. So he cannot make that decision himself. By the rules we set up, it would have to then come to F&P to set a salary, because ultimately F&P sets management salaries. So I'll let Louis and Julie say what they need to say.
Well, I've been interviewing, I interviewed her months ago, and she's been coming back. She really wants to work with us. She was an attorney overseas. She has a lot of experience. She's run some companies, so she's not like somebody out of law school. I have one attorney who, New York-wise, has similar amount of practice in the States. I guess that's the best way to say it. He was from Canada. His is criminal, and we were able to get him set a little over 100. And considering those two things, with her experience, I think a little less than what he's getting, somewhere basically in the middle of the two, with what they're saying that she should get and what he got, right in that middle area would prepare her into the office. And, you know, honestly, I haven't had an attorney interview in my office this year. So there's not really much coming down the pike. I do have some law students. Hopefully it will come on board. But again, they won't have her experience. She's done, you know, she has a lot of real life experience. And I've talked to her a few times. She has a good head. So she would be a good hire.
And I know usually, I read through it, and I know there was some controversy in the past regarding, I'm always nervous when it comes to the attorney salaries, because when we set one, next thing I know, it was a chain reaction. And you guys had spoken and come up with that.
Well, yeah, we came up with that. Julie, do you want to explain how you scored this and why the experience factored in so that the maximum under what the legislature agreed to would be 88?
Right, so basically, what we were provided by the resume and also the resume that you were provided, we have a rubric set up based on whether a position is current and prevalent to the county. You get 100% evaluation of the credit. And if it's public-related position, 75% evaluated based on the years of experience. There's private-related, public unrelated, you know, so there's different criteria. This particular candidate was private, all unrelated experience, and based on the resume, was given 3 years of experience, but that private unrelated, you get 10%. So based on that, it started at base and would give to a 4-5-step leeway. So 5 was basically the math based on the evaluation of this candidate, which was the 88,000.
Understood. Now this will be going to the floor, correct?
No.
If we
Yeah,
get
it's after we set salaries.
to the floor.
So because this is a request over and above the approved max, he can't hire, he could have hired 88 and below.
Right.
If he wants to come in and ask for more, that's gotta be approved by this committee first.
Right. I usually don't like going above what's recommended. You know, I understand that you probably had a great deal of difficulty giving somebody, that's why
Yeah, it's, the DA, I think, on that is, it's a little hard to get.
Right. Understood.
I
Understood,
think-
Lockwood?
I could see a couple thousand, but 6,000 is a lot, you know.
Yeah, I understand that, but you're gonna be paying that to assign council, and that's, it dwarfs like 6,000. You're paying assigned council now about $160 an hour for every case they work on.
But is he gonna, or she, whatever, is gonna come back and ask for another raise after
No,
so many
they're,
months, or?
no, they're into the management plan. It just comes through the management plan. I think it's, what, 3% of the year? At the end of the year.
I have a hard time. You know, I respect Willie's position that he's in. You know, I've had to go around and around on this attorney issue for the last year, or more than a year. And we set up this rubric to be fair, and so that we don't end up with the inequities between departments like that we had before that caused all this to begin with.
That's what I'm talking.
And if we need to increase attorneys again, I think it ought to be in the context of any broader mixes, broader changes we make as a result of the Burke study. This making exceptions doesn't work, and I don't think.
Yeah, but there's no attorneys knocking on the door.
Right.
You're $6,000 over a year, an assigned council attorney, using the old, with the hours they had with, under the old thing, you're gonna be paying about $300,000-$400,000 to top hitters.
But this attorney doesn't have criminal experience.
She has experience. She has a head on her shoulder.
Yeah,
I mean, Nick, I don't know, they're Nick pennies.
Right.
You're gonna pay an attorney, I mean, the assigned counsel, the top assigned counsel before the pay raise went in by the state was $175,000. That's what you're paying them. Now, you factor in that raise that the state gave them, that the state is sticking on you to pay. You're only paying them $300,000-$400,000 a year. This person is going to be 95. To me, it's a no-brainer.
How many more attorneys you're gonna have to hire?
You need to get we don't know exactly, because it all depends on our caseload standards, but we're looking anywhere from 12 to 14. I have 8 right now. So probably another 4 to 6. I do have 2 law students in line who will start late summer. So from that, I'll need probably another 2 or 3 over that. Again, it depends. I'm working with the state on our caseload standards of how many attorneys we exactly need. We're looking around 12 to 14.
So these newcomers, what would they start out at?
83.
As the base.
It just seems like a big increase, you know.
All right,
$6,000.
looking for a motion to approve at the 95,352 as requested. By legislator House. Second by legislator Holt. Does anybody have any questions? I think we already covered the question and answer. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That carries. And that will adjourn our meeting. Look at your motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much.